So these are the topics we discussed for our assignment 3, creating a virtual world. So we already discussed most of the topics here. Texture loading, I already completed all the steps for doing that. And then we implemented a basic camera, not the way we want to implement that for the assignment. We just implemented the basic of the camera, and I showed some example of moving a camera that was from the book. So we are going to add a camera class today, which is part of the requirement for our assignment. So if you go here, these things we did. Step 5 we already did. We have our view and projection metrics both in our vertex shader. Actually, let me open the where we ended last week. This was the code we worked on. So let me open the HTML code first, even though I'm not going to make any changes here. And then, yeah, I'll actually make a change, but later. And then this is the JavaScript file we have been working on. So now we have this projection matrix, view matrix, and model matrix, all three in the shader. That is what this line was about. So we did that. Then create a camera class to store and control both view and projection matrices. Create a new file called camera.js and define a class called camera that has the following attributes. So you can read through it, and for each of the attributes, it's sort of defined what you need to do. So we are going to do that today. And then we'll do some basic keyboard input based on the example I discussed last week. And that's mostly it, what we're going to do today. And adding component in your world, that is going to be your design planning. We're not going to cover that. I mean, we are covering that, but this part is something that is going to be unique for each of the projects. And rotate camera with mouse, multiple texture, simple Minecraft. These are extra for AI, so obviously need some more creativity. But everything you need for doing until the last step will be here in the lab video, right? So let's get into that. First, I'm going to create a camera class. But before that, I need to make sure that the code we are going to use works, right? So if I click on this, nothing will happen, right? If you remember from last time, we need to run it from a server. So that's what I'm going to do, just to easier management of the cache, so that I have the refreshing the file is easier. I'm using this incognito window, so it saves less things, site data and other things, because we're going to continuously change the data in the site, and I want the browser to load that every time instead of saving something in the cache. So I'm going to use the Python server as usual, like last time. That's why I am here in the PowerShell. Then I need to go to the location where I'm going to run the code. So I have this location copied. Then here I am. Check the list of files. I have this. So this is the place where I want to run the server, right? So the server command is Python, then message, then http server. So our server is now running, right? So I need to use this address with the local IP address. So again, copied that, and I'm going to use it here. So I'm going to use localhost. So here we are. And if I click on the link, it works, right? Like last time. We have this rotation, we have this triangle and this square. So let me zoom in a bit so that we can have a better look. This is better. Then Control Shift K to bring up the console. Right. So first thing, I want to stop the rotation for now because I'm going to do some more step with the camera. So everything related to our camera is actually done here, right? So this is where we did our camera. This is where we added our texture and other stuff. So we are going to convert this part to a camera class, right? Okay, so before that, I'm going to make some small changes. First of all, so this view matrix, you can see our requirement is to create variables for each of these, and then a field of view variable, right? So actually, let me copy this exactly as it is, and then I want to use these variables. Each of them are going to be vector 3. So 3. Formatting. We could have done better, but let's go with what we have. Sorry. And then field of view, this is just a single value. So I'm going to call it 60. And these are vectors, so we need to assign them as arrays. Right? So let's not make it global yet. I'm going to make it local. Okay, now, so we have all these things. -1, and I'm going to use these variables for the functions here. So setting the perspective as this, and let's see what changes. Did anything changes? Okay, let me see if I can stop the animation. And then I can do the rotation and save the file. Okay, that's a bad sign. Okay, now it is working. Sometimes you need to do a hard reload. That's thing. Otherwise, it just shows you the old stuff. Okay. So what is wrong with the code now? We have new. Okay, so we need to invoke new, right? I think I didn't do that. So each of them are new. So new vector 3. Now this looks better, I think. Yeah, we have a closer look of the thing we have here. Then we didn't change anything I could look at, right? That is also something we want to change, because now we have the variables here. So actually, let me first do that. So this is going to be I. Zero. Then 0. I elements 0, right? This is a bit 2. Then 1 and then 2. And then the same pattern is going to repeat here and here. So this is going to be at the same, and this is going to be the up vector of the camera. Okay, so now we are using the variables as we are guided, and then doing the set lookat like this. And the projection matrix is also like the way it is telling us to do. So I believe this is 1000. Okay, let's see if that works or not. Okay, something is definitely not right. So our eye is at here, right? Which may be not the right location. We need to back up a little bit to see the object on the screen. I hope that is the issue. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. But let's that should be here. Yeah, now it's back. So now our camera is somewhere here. Let's back up a little bit more so that we can have a better look at the house or whatever you call it. Yeah, this is obviously better. Okay, so this is working okay. And the next thing we want to create is we want to create a camera class. And we want to create this file called camera.js. So let's go ahead and do that. So where is our folder? Let's go to the location and then we'll add that. Oops. Okay, so here we're going to create this new file, and the name is going to be exactly as it is here. And then we are going to add the components of the camera class here. So the name is uppercase camera. So let me create the class, and then the name is this. First thing is creating a constructor, and inside the constructor we can pass some arguments that we define our initial camera, right? Okay. So what are the arguments you can pass? let's see what we have here, mainly for the camera. So these are going to be defaults. We have values for each of this. So we're not going to change any of this. We don't have value for this 3. So we can pass this 3 depending on how you want to set the initial camera. So this is field of view. This is fine. Going to be a variable in the class. Then this is the aspect ratio. Then this is the near. This is the far. So let me create those. Aspect. Then near. Okay. And then we need to create some functions in the class. But before doing that, let's create the local variables. So I'm going to copy the local variables from here, right, at this point. So we need a view matrix. Firstly, we need these things. So let's copy this. And then we need a view matrix to use these things. So maybe okay. This should definitely be below all these things. Just group them together, so it's better. It's organized better. So here we have the view matrix, and now they're part of the class, right? So we have to do this. So they are part of this class. So this FOV, this I, this at, this up, and this is matrix, then another this matrix, right? Similarly, we want to do the same for the projection matrix, right? Let's see. We have this projection matrix here, and then we are setting the set perspective. So let's copy this and put them here as well. Okay, so this is our constructor. Then we'll have some classes here as mentioned here. So we are going to need move forward, no, don't classes, sorry about that. Some functions here, some member functions of the class. So move forward, then move backwards, move right, pan left, pan right, and then there is move left. Okay, so let's create those classes. Forward. Then you can pass something. Then same thing. Backward, backwards. So it's wrong. Then I believe left and right first. Left and right. Then we have pan left. Pan right. So this is our camera class that is part of the requirement. But let me refresh the code and see. Nothing changed, right? But still, we are not actually using the camera class. We created the camera class, but we didn't do anything with this. We are still using all the variables from here. So let's do that first. First, we need to import the class. So let me add one more line here. And then load the camera. Since it is saved same location as this file, so as you can see, camera.js. Now it is important, and we can use this, right? We can use this in our assignment 3.js. Okay, so let's make sure that everything is good. Okay, and then now I want to use the camera class. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the things that I already have in my camera class. Right? So removed all this and have in the class, and then remove this because I have all this in my class. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new object, camera. Inside that, we need to call the constructor, right? New camera. What are our parameters? So we have aspect ratio, near, and far. So aspect ratio is calculated using canvas divided by canvas. And near was, I think, 0.1. Far was 1000. So there is nothing here. So the camera is global. So we can use this everywhere. Okay, so why do we need to use the camera? First of all, now we are going to use the camera view matrix and the position matrix. So this is part of the camera object. I think that is all. Is there anything else that we want to use from the camera class? I don't think so. Oh, so the position matrix should be this. Still have one typo left here. Okay. Now, if we are lucky, we'll see the same thing. If we are not, okay. So I is not defined. Where do we have I from? Oops. So camera.js is at 10. I think 10 I is not defined. That's weird. Why I is not defined? Okay, let's take a closer look. We have this view matrix. Then we're trying to set this set look at. Okay, yeah. So these are local these are not local variables anymore. These are part of the member, part of the class, right? So I have to add this. To so many places. And drag this here. I just copied blindly, right? But I never actually fixed those things. So they should come from the constructors. So this should be this, and this should be near. This should be far, since we are passing those things. Okay, let's try one more time and see. Okay, projection matrix is not defined. I think some similar issue maybe. Yeah, right. Just copy it, but never fixed. Yeah, it was not too bad, I'd say. It could be much worse, but now we are using the camera class and it is working perfectly. So we are happy with whatever is happening here. And then for each of the functions, you need to do these steps, which is, I would say, mostly straightforward. The calculations are similar to assignment 0. And these functions, they are going to be your utility function for each of the control key commands, right? We'll have this first person movement using WASD, the typical first person gaming control scheme, and then QE for pan left and right. So we have this, right? In the main function, we have this. Then we need this keyboard control. And for each of the call, we need to call the function. Inside the function, we need to do this stuff to make sure the camera is moving, right? So the other function, they're going to be the same. I will not implement all the functions. Rather, I'll jump to the next step where we'll do some keyboard stuff.